Let me just get this up and check this is working. Bear with me. Are we live? Hello? Are we live? Ah, here we go. Right. Guys. Right. Here we go. Guys. Hopefully there's not too much shadow going on. Hey Mark, how are you doing? Oh. Mark. David, good to see you. I gotta say, Mark, your observations, they are spot on. Robert, good to see you. Yes, this is going to be kind of more like an update stream, really. I had wanted to play Alien Sanctuary. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Jeff, Nick, Starglider. You did a fantastic job, Mark. Prestige P. How are you doing, my friend? Matthew C. Matthew, you've been doing a fantastic job. Bubba, good to see you. Reiner, how are you doing? Guys, I must apologise for being a bit late today. It's been such a weird week. So at the beginning of the week, my computer would not connect to the internet. And I had 2 days where nothing I could do, I could get onto the internet. Thankfully, I could obviously answer emails and whatnot on my wife's laptop and on my phone. I could work on stuff, but it really did hamper me. And I then eventually, the second, third morning came down and it connected, but it had cleared all my passwords were gone. Do you know the way it saves into the memory? And so we'll go to a page, and there's hundreds of websites and loads of apps and stuff that I use. And so the most annoying thing in the world is trying to remember your passwords. Russian hackers, of course. Oh, Bubba, Nico, how are you doing? Good to see you. Anyway. So then, of course, I go to load up XSplit, which is the broadcaster I use to go to do the streaming. And bang, no password, no login details. And so I'm madly going through email addresses that I may have used, because I set this account up many years ago. Mike, good to see you, my friend. And so I eventually found it. But consequently, I was 10 minutes late in. There you go. Bit protracted. But it's been one of those weeks. It's been a strange week. James, how you doing? If changes are made to version 1 of 2.6 Realms, can you please include which pages got changed so we can just reprint the changed pages? Yeah, I'm at the point with technology where I just want it to work, Jeff. Oh, I'm okay. I've always been okay with computers, but sometimes it just does take time to find the right password or the right bloody email address. Oh my word. So, it's been one of those. So every time I access somewhere, I've got to find the password and the email address. Oh. Thankfully for this expert, you can do like a one-time password, and they send it to the one-time code without changing your password. They send it somewhere, and I could do that. And I work in IT. Well, there you go. James, so changes to 2D6 Realm are rare now. I mean, if any. There's one or two very minor things, 3 minor points. The spelling of a name I changed a few days ago in one table, a V to an R. So absolutely, there's absolutely nothing to worry about when it comes to that. If there's any little tinkering, it's no way at the detriment to the game or your records. And in fact, if I felt there was something that was key, like I don't know, something was broken about it, the first thing I'd do is I'd tell everybody that re-download, do that now, you'll be done. So there's nothing to worry about. Oh my God, Blue Steel is talking in gobbledygook to me. Encrypted flash drive to store passwords on for the win. No idea what you're talking about, Blue Steel, but that does sound pretty damn cool. Not the sort of thing I do really. I back things up on external drives. I use external drives. The thought of using the cloud scares the hell out of me. Is that very old-fashioned? A quote from Tom Clancy, write it down. A quote, yeah, absolutely. Write it down, it'll never happen. Ha! Yeah, so what I thought I'd do is have a discussion about where we're at with 2D6 Realm, I should say. What I've been working on, and we have received the spiral bounds for 2D6 Dungeon, so they are going to be going out ASAP, and that's exciting. So with Realm, as you know, I've been working on the 2D6 Realm 2D6 Lair Volume 2, and with that it has taken a bit longer because I had some issues with the cards, and so that took me longer to sort out. I've had some amazing feedback. Sometimes you put stuff out and you kind of hope there's not that many errors, and then when it comes back and there's a whole bunch of errors, you're like, oh, this is going to take me another day, and then it's like another day when you realise you've got to jink the cards. But that, yes, thank you, Bubba. I love how substantial and beefy these spiral bounds they are. Really good quality spiral bounds. You know, going on there. Look at that, beautiful. And yeah, so that's done. So admittedly, it's taken me a few longer days, which has had a knock-on effect on me getting Alien Sanctuary ready to play through. And I was desperately trying to get it ready. I was right up to like 10 minutes before the bloody stream. I was like typing away. But, you know, I'm working through reams of notes of stuff, you know, and I'm like, I've just got these some really brilliant feedback. And I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. Like reams of text and stuff like this I'm looking through, and I'm like, right, do I play it before I've implemented some of this other stuff, some of these great ideas and hints, and kind of, do I play that now? I'm like, no, because I've got to print it out again, and then I'll have to print it out again, and you know, it's bloody expensive ink. And then also, I want people's ideas to be, I want it to be apparent that the work that people put into this stuff for me is coming through in the testing. So to do it justice, I was kind of like, oh god, it's kind of defeated me, and I was like, right, I'll just have to do it next week. I'll spend the week making it right. I've got to compile the omnibus, and which is going to take another day or two, and then that will be released as PDF, and for obviously 2D6 Realm. And then once that's done, I'm then free to really focus on this. So I reckon we've got another week, because some people have suggested some amazing ideas, and I'm like, right, I like those ideas. I need to make them work within the scope of the game, like a phase 4 for the disaster mode potentially. But it made me think about, with the Alien Sanctuary, we need dignitaries or famous people to be able to visit the sanctuary. And to do that, I think what I kind of decided, sort of popped into my head, was as you go through the game, you can collect prestige points or something along those lines. And when you get 5, you can, or 2 or 3 or something like that, you can swap it in and roll on the visitor table. So a visitor appears, and then you get some other stuff. I also need to slightly tailor the... It's clear that the biodomes in the game don't get as damaged as they could do to make it more fun. So I need to slightly adjust the balance based upon the feedback. Right. Mark. You shouldn't send it to me then. Mark, get out of it, man. Your corrections are fantastic. I do want the errors found, and I'm not complaining about the time it takes. It's more I want to do it justice, you know. So I really do appreciate it. Better to find them before it goes out, of course. Definitely, Jeff. And your overview, Jeff, of the game and the systems is just invaluable. Whereas Mark is like, he nails down every minute detail and then has a real go at me if I don't get them right, which is absolutely fine, incidentally, because I need to be reined in sometimes when it comes to stuff like this. Because sometimes I will do all the corrections. So I correct a card, I won't necessarily drop the card back into the book even though I've corrected the card. So it's kind of like there's like a whole series of connections, and so I need to be people to remind me. But Jeff has got like this overview. And as well as, so Jeff can like point out when the table's been missed out and stuff like that. It's like a little team. There's a team of people. Matt, how you doing? Clive's brilliant for checking the text as well. Mark's, who else have we got here? David is good at spotting stuff. Matthews does some great suggestions for the game, which I'm going to be looking at putting in. So I just felt like, with all that going on, I just need to give it... You know, you've got to make a judgment call, haven't you? I didn't think anybody would mind. We've got a couple of 2 or 3 weeks left still before I kind of get the Kickstarter page up. So we're definitely going to have a run through of the game. I'm really looking forward to doing it. But I also want to better point it out, maybe even laminate some cards so that we can just do some rubbing off. And I'm also keen for Alan in Belgium to look at maybe coming up with some ideas for some counter sliders and stuff like that. There's all sorts of things going on. You're the idea man, and they are the fine tuners. Absolutely. In fact, it's a whole team of people that help me fine tune it. So, like at the front here, I mean, look at that big list, Bubba. You're one of them, my friend. And that's what this is about. I am not precious about the game, about the games and stuff that I do. What I am cautious of is retaining a solid foundation. I think it's important. If you get involved with any designers, any designers who present you with a game to play, and you play it and you're like, I don't feel like there's a foundation to this game. I don't feel this game is solid enough. And then you start suggesting stuff that it creates the base core to the game, then you're designing the game for that person. I'm the games designer, and when I give it to people, I like to say to people, right, this game I've spent a lot of time making, there's a foundation here, and I want you to interact with that, and that foundation will stay unless it's not stable. And then people will add bits to it, little bits to it, and they'll point things out and they'll help me fine tune it. Otherwise, if you don't have that foundation, if you're working with someone who doesn't give you that foundation, then there's a sense of chaos. There's a sense of instability, and all credibility falls out of the task, you know. And so that's what I like to think people are coming into when I ask them to be testers. It's a serious process, and I read everything that people give me and absorb it. And sometimes I don't necessarily imply it. Like Jeff, for example, was suggesting some ideas about how to lay out some of the tables for the new volume, and I unfortunately couldn't do it that way that Jeff suggested. I thought it was a great idea. I thought my way worked as well, but more the point, in the first layer I'd already done it this way, so I'm thinking about continuity across the whole project. It's little things like that, and some people will suggest good ideas, and I'll be like, well, I'll take that on board, but at times it just doesn't always go through. And although on the face of it looks like I'm saying yes to everybody, I'm actually carefully filtering out things, maybe learning from comments, not necessarily implementing them, but I do try and make a judgment call, and it's just a really tricky thing. Guardrails, I like that. Hey, Lord McGray, how you doing? Good to see you. Nico, I have to sleep. I am sorry, but I'm going to rewatch the stream tomorrow. Good night. Nico, thank you for your feedback. I think it was you that gave me the feedback, wasn't it? Good stuff. Jim, the two Jims, welcome. Hello, my friend. Jeff, yeah, I thought about that last night, about being consistent with the original. I figure it's all food for thought. It is, Jeff, and never stop suggesting stuff. Honestly, my friend, I really think it's fascinating, because I'm working sometimes on a project like with the volume, with the layers volume 2. So there's just been like a core of maybe 3 or 4 people who have been helping me directly. And there will be others that will put things in, like David has pointed out a couple of things as well, which is great. Each one has gone through the thing, and each 3 or 4 people that are core to this proofreading have suggested very different things and found very different errors. So I'm just like, this is why you need a team. This is why you need a team of people. I gave some feedback. Yes, really like the Alien Sanctuary so far. Thank you, Nico. I do appreciate your feedback. I've got it over here. I print everything out. I'm a bit old school like that, and I'm going through it. Some great stuff from Matthew C. Thank you for that, and Jeff, of course, and Mark. Wow. I said to Mark, right, Mark, hopefully there's not too many errors. He sent me about 2 pages worth of stuff, and I'm like, it was just like very small typo things, but you have to get them. Good to hear that you are trying to keep it all the same. Always confuses me when things get changed across the series. Yes, Matt, that is a really good point. I am trying to keep the consistency. It's like with Realm. Although we've got a series of land tables which are very different, we've also got the traditional 2d6 dungeon tables at the back in that format that we know. So that's the consistency I was striving for with that. And yeah, so with the new volume 2 layers, it's like this. I just wanted to say as well, before we get carried away, that the omnibus, so if you've ordered the omnibus, that is separate from volume 2 in the sense that volume 1, 2 and the Haunted House are in the omnibus. So if you've ordered the omnibus and you're thinking, right, where's my volume 2, it will be with you in the next couple of days as part of your omnibus, rather than a separate file that I send you Lairs Volume 2 as. So the omnibus will include that, and it'll be more complete. All the tables are going to be alphabetically listed, with the special rules for each layer in there. So it's going to be it's in a different layout, bigger book, with a little bit of additional content. Right, let me just check something here. Nico, yes, guys, fantastic. JRF2K, good to see you, my friend. How long will the wait be so that print copy of Realms has the missing table included? Well, all the Realms have been printed, so it'll be a while yet. But that's not anything detrimental. The PDF has it in, so you do have a copy of that PDF. I wouldn't look at that as something that is going to change the way the game plays, to be honest. Matthew C says Sanctuary is so good. I agree. Well, thank you, Matthew. I appreciate your feedback. I'm thinking about what you were saying, and that's going to be kind of worked in. Blue Steel, what made you land on D6 for your game as opposed to D8 or D10, etc.? I'm sure the tables on D10 would be huge. Yeah, so the reason why I went for D6, there's a number of reasons, actually. It's a really good question, Blue Steel. Number one is the old-fashioned thing about 2d6 being some 6-sided die being readily available. So obviously for a lot of gamers they have many polyhedral dice, but I wanted that to be a readily available dice, so people will get. I've had a lot of people getting into solo player games that don't do RPG, and they can just get straight into it. And I've had people contact me directly and say, this is the first game I played, and so they're using these dice for the first time. That was part of the reason. Second reason is, with the 2d6, you get a really interesting bell curve. So you get the more common stuff in the middle, so from like the 5s to the 8s, and then the rarer stuff either side. And if I implement plus and a minus, so a benefit and a negative, then you can affect that bell curve. So you get a really nice bell curve with the results. I just think that at that, the total number of spaces is therefore 12. If you do the 10, then you get 20 results. So if you're doing 2d10, you've got 20 or 19 results, or however. The stream looks fine. Blue Steel. I can't see any. I haven't lost any frames. Wouldn't surprise me if I had. Bear with me a sec. No, haven't lost any frames. Am I back? I'd lost a few people there. Hang on a minute. Okay. Weird. Right, let me just put a little word out around the house just to check that people aren't downloading. Just bear with me a sec. There have been a few internet issues. Just bear with me. Bear with me one sec, guys. we doing? It's very annoying. Oh, come back with Bailey's. No, I'm going to come back with the last of my wine. Right. Stream is fine. Weird. Some people lost it, some people didn't. It comes and goes for me. Stream is fine. I have a million. Yeah, looks fine to me. Hi Rick, how you doing? Bob, I hope you're well, my friend. Jim, maybe it's just on the other side of the pond. It was briefly off and on stream. Seems okay now. Maybe there was a glitch in the system. I have lost a few people, actually. Lost about 50% of people. Everybody else... yeah, the surprise. Bob says he would have come back with the Baileys. Well, I got some red wine. If PPL are DL at his place, that shouldn't affect his upload. Blue Steel, you're technical. That's good, Rick. Starguider, solid here. Frozen again. Down again for me. Oh my god. It does look like someone is downloading. Oh, how irritating. That is so irritating. Mine's choppy, but it might be the awesome. Right, I'm still here. Mark. Good. Definitely. Hang on. All good in Germany. My lord. Hang on. Nobody's downloading. None of them are downloading. Oh, are you sure you're not downloading? Alright. That's so irritating. Yeah, it's definitely fluctuating in and out. Yeah, the kids. Well, they're young adults now, to be honest. So my eldest is 21. Next one's 19, and then we've got a 16-year-old. Yeah, look, who's downloading? Jim. It's Jim. Jim's download. You're not downloading, are you? It's okay, game. Weird. Oh my god, I'm sorry, guys. I refreshed my browser. Maybe that. Yeah, refresh browsers if anybody's having problems. So, what were we talking about? So, yeah, we're talking about some fantastic feedback. So, what can we expect? Yeah, what can we expect over the next... I think, so over this period, we've got... there's a bit of a lull in the postage, unfortunately, because we are in the process of printing the cards. The cards went today because some of the cards in the pack are part of the layers. So the layers were finished today, and we've uploaded the cards. They take, I hate to say, they take a week to 2 weeks to print. So we're looking at probably a lull in that period there, and the same goes for the books and the foes. So although we've got some more going out today, we've got some more spirals gone out today. We've got a whole batch going out tomorrow, another 50 or 60 packages going out tomorrow. Also, D6 versus D8. Hang on a sec. D6 versus D8. So, yeah, so we were talking about the D6, weren't we? Anyway, let's get back to that. So, and then the D6 also presented me with columns of 12, which I found in the books, right? So was a good amount of columns to fit in this orientation. So if it had been 8, it would have been 16. So it would have been more writing, longer to do. And so it just turned out that the D6 was the perfect formula, the perfect size. Your upload should not interfere with the others downloading on the same network. Those are different protocols. Prodigal Sorcerer, fantastic name. So, but I do think if they crash the internet because of all the downloading, does that not affect the overall performance at all? Or if they're uploading, what if they're uploading? I know my daughter, one of my daughters, she uploads sometimes at night when she's doing her OneDrive. Jim's back. Everyone's a pair of D6s laying around. That is a good point, Jim. Yeah, that is a good point. It's a good reason to tell the kids to go outside. Yeah, as I say, they're young adults now. My son is booming away above. He's playing online with his mates. Now, would that affect? Would him play? Come on, Blue Steel and Prodigal Sorcerer. Would my son playing online with his mates affect this stream? Would it affect the quality of the stream? I don't know. D6 is more likely to be in home. Other board games can be nicked for the purpose. Exactly, Rick. That was like that's the one that people drag out when they say they're using a D6, but it had other reasons. It's the bell curve, the amount that went into the tables. It just felt right. And when I was doing the tables with the D66, which is again, it seemed like the right number of rooms for the levels. It just felt like that, and I could have the D6 symbols, the dice symbols on the tables. It just made it kind of all slotted together. Potentially, Jeff says. I think it would, yes. 2d6 standard for Final Fantasy equipment. Blue Steel, if others are uploading, then yes, it can affect your upload. Game will affect your upload. Yes, that's probably what it is. It may be that. I really should kick him off. I'm too much of a soft touch when it comes to stuff like that. He's taken all the bandwidth in your home. Basically, yeah. Upload is usually much slower than your download. I've got a really fast upload here, thankfully. Potentially, but he's probably just uploading chat, which doesn't take much bandwidth. That's a good point. He's playing on a game. So, Fighting Fantasy even. Oh, hang on a sec, David. Did I miss something? Oh, yes, 2d6 standard Fighting Fantasy equipment. You're right, David. David, thank you for your feedback, by the way. Much appreciated. I've got it all kind of stashed over here. I'm going to have to, once I get through Alien Sanctuary, and we've got that out and sorted, I'm going to have to redo the room. I do try and keep the space tidy, but at the moment the creative thoughts are just kind of pouring out, and I'm making notes and I stash stuff here, printing stuff out, and it's just become chaotic. I'm gonna have to redo the room and try and tidy things up. I'm trying to think about how I can fit another bookshelf in here. I don't know whether it's possible. Depends on your connection. Ultimately, yeah, connection is fine here though. Good. I think it's all right now. I think maybe that was just a glitch. Lord of Fake. I bought a die set for my nephew and wanted to gift him a game for it too. So I first looked at other systems using the D100 and D10, but I ended up with 2D6 Dungeon as it was so much smoother, although the set contains only one D6. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's very nice of you to get your nephew some stuff. Dice set. Oh, dice. They're so nice, aren't they? They're so... Oh, just the whole dice is very satisfying. Anyway, I was talking about what's coming, wasn't I? So we've got... over the next... so there's a bit of a lull where we're just waiting for that stuff to come back. Then, bang, we're going to have like a team of 4 on the postage for like a couple of weeks to get it all out. That is key. Tim, connection fine in VA. Is that Vancouver? The only problem with bandwidth in 2D6 Realm is how many musicians walking through your realm. That is true. We could play a game. See if I can guess Virginia. See if I can guess if you... Do you know, like in America, you have the abbreviations for your states. Put up your abbreviation for your state and see if I can guess it. Some of you I know already, so... But there's... My knowledge of these... California, obviously, an OCA. AB. AB. Alabama. OR. Orlean? No. DK. DK. Oh my God. This is terrible. I shouldn't have said this. Minnesota, MN. Los Angeles. California. Canada. And Nebraska. Oregon. Wow. Washington. That's, I think, Canada. Well, Canada's cheating. Lol. Oh my God. Dakota. Is that right? Oregon. Wow. Where's Oregon? NN. Denmark. There's no What? Berlin. Berlin. I'd like to go to Berlin. That'd be fantastic. Alberta. AB. LA. Louisiana. Ah. Is that in the south? Louisiana? Mike? As in Berlin, Germany. Yes, obviously. DK, of course, is Denmark. Is your knowledge of postcodes as good? Postcodes are far more complicated than abbreviations. Northampton. You should know that. Okay, so I think I was being tricked a bit there, wasn't I? Let's face it. Matthew's like UK. I think I got that one. Geography's my worst subject. Yes, on the Gulf of Mexico. Wow. So many places I'd like to visit in America. Yes, on the Gulf of Mexico. Look at that. The spiral bounds. Yeah, so... And then I'm going to have the... and then... So we're looking at 3 weeks, and we'll have everything sent by then. That's the hope. And then on that 3rd week, once everything's sent, we're going to try and get the new Kickstarter Alien Sanctuary going. So that's the plan. I think we can get that Kickstarter once everything's posted. Also, another thing as well. Tomorrow morning, I think I'm going to put the 2D6 volume Layers Volume 2 and 2D6 Realm on DriveThruRPG, itch.io, and our website as the digital formats. Not going to have the physical formats available yet, because obviously I want all my backers to have those first. Hurricane season there right now. Blimey. Yeah, that's pretty scary. So, Mike, do you have like one of those underground bunkers where you go? Storm shelters. Is that what they call them? Loving the look of the spiral bound. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, it's so nice to get this. I mean, people suggested this, and I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I'm so glad I went with it. Well, we have the 3 bindings. We have all 3 available, and even the Perfect Bind paperbacks are the most popular. They are the cheapest. They work really well. I don't have any problems with these. But if you want to lie them out like that, you need the spiral bound. It's like with any paperback, you can't just like rip it open, otherwise you are going to break it. And then you've got the beautiful hardbacks. There's a little bit more weight in the pull, so the back of the book pulls it down more, so they stay open a bit more. So these are kind of a bit in betweeny. So that's fantastic. Why can't yes, where I live in the postcode CH covers Cheshire, Worrell and some of North Wales. Nice. Do you know what is the place called again? It's only up there. Do you know Oswestry, Matthew? Because that's where my mother-in-law lives. And we were up there like a week or 2 ago. I can't remember now. Dragon Shadow. Are those spiral bound available for purchase? They are, yeah, but not from a shop yet. What you can do is put in a late pledge just for a spiral bound, and we will process it as if it's in the shop, because you're kind of entering the pledge system that way. Then if you go, it's not available to the shop as yet, because, as I say, all the backers don't have those they haven't necessarily received them all yet, and I want to make sure all the backers that made this project viable get the chance to have their products first before other people come in and just buy stuff in the shop. So if you go to the Kickstarter and there's a late pledge form, you click on that and then fill that in, and just put on there separate order, and Jo will sort you out. She'll send you an invoice and we'll send that out to you. Cody, how are you doing? So Cody, Nightbird Games is come in. Cody is going to be doing a Kickstarter for his game, The Ferryman. So it's a post-apocalyptic game. I think it's kind of like a short game you play on a grid, and I think 2 guys from our community, Scott and the tabletop engineer, maybe Jim, may have done videos for that. So if you want to check those out, Cody, your admin, if you want to drop the link for Scott's video on there, please do, my friend. Prodigal Sorcerer, those bindings are ideal for flipping through the tables. Exactly. Look at that. Flip, flip, flip. They're really nice. CD equals Coradine. Fantastic, Jeff. I love that. David, how are you doing? I can't wait for my spiral set of Realm and Dungeon. They look fantastic. Did you just order those 2, or did you order cards or layers as well? David, if you did, you will have to wait a bit longer, I'm afraid. Look at how flat it sits on the table. It does. I know, I've put that in the background like that. I'm really pleased with it. But I tell you what, I mean, listen, the hardback. I haven't got the foes yet. They're still coming. But the hardback is just beautiful. I still love the hardback as well. Just very satisfying. And the colours as well. I went with the bright colours. Really pleased. It's real opposite to the dark of the dungeon. So, Mike says, can't have them. Can't dig down. People are buried above ground. What? Mike, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Is that like, what, the ground's too hard? That's weird. You need to tell us more. Mark, yes, Matthew, when I needed to send police to a place in Cheshire, I had to guess which police force to ring first. So hang on a minute. That's like an interesting one. Did I miss something there? Matthew, where I live in postcode CH covers Cheshire, Worrell and some... Oh, okay. Yeah, did you... Who was I saying that to? Matthew. Do you know Oswestry? Matthew, I do. Used to play rugby near Oswestry. I'm based near Chester now. Ah! Well, there you go. Small world. We'll update. We'll go update my pledge there. Oh, Dragon, thank you, my friend. I do appreciate that. If you put a separate pledge, that's paying the postage twice. I mean, if we got cards and layers coming as well, then you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. It's painful for me, but or if you, Anyway, you have a look and see what you think. Toby, did you consider hardback spiral bound? Is that what people would want? I did paperback spiral bound. My thinking being hardback spiral bound is again heavier, bulkier, which is an issue. I personally don't own any hardback spiral bounds. Any spiral bounds I've owned are paperback spiral bounds. Admit that I don't have a lot of them. Is that a thing, Rick, that you think is something to consider? Give me your feedback. Give me your thoughts. Namer869. Does KS take a cut from late pledges? Kickstarter? No. No, it doesn't. We handle that separately. So Kickstarter does take a big 5% out of what we earn. Now I don't think that's too bad personally. I like the Kickstarter network. I like how it works. I think it's buoyant. People are really into it. The community is fantastic. I think that's great. Now, Drive-Thru RPG and itch.io. Drive-Thru RPG is the worst. So price is sometimes a bit higher there. I try not to. Yeah, we lose cuts on things. We do. PayPal, we lose percentage. That's why I don't use a fulfillment company or a advertising company. I know someone who did a campaign, good friends of ours, and they did it, and they took 150,000 on their campaign, which is amazing. But then when we spoke to them, we found out that actually their backer kit they'd done this advertising package, and they'd lost quite a lot of the money through that. And I was like, wow. That's why we handle everything in house here, and we do a good job. We like to make sure everything's packed up nicely, and we handle it that way. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but to be honest, I just think with this type of project that evolves and grows and listens to people, You know, it's kind of it's built in. Yeah, I can't wait for the faux leather either, Lord McRae. We're just liaising with them at the moment because we're doing all the 3 faux leathers. So, and they've come back and they can do the colours that we want. It's looking fantastic. I've got to design the emboss for the Layers Omnibus, so it's slightly, it does that's still got to go to them. So yeah, there are slight complications with that, but they are fantastic and I cannot wait to have them. Cody says, "Oh Toby, you don't have to give me a shout out. I appreciate it very much though. Love the spiral books for functionality, but I love seeing the spine." Yeah, me too. I have to say, on the shelf, it's all about the spine. And there's the YouTube connection to Scott's video showing Cody's game. Cody is Cody's kind of branching out into games, aren't you, Cody? I know that you kind of, I don't know whether you've done much recently, but I think this is a bit of a new wave for you. Sam, I don't quite, sounds interesting, but I would need to see how it lays. The hardback. Yeah, Bob, I've never seen a hardcover spiral bound. Not saying it doesn't exist, I just never seen them. Yeah, because I think the very nature of they kind of a spiral that moves, and I think if you've got like a soft cover, that handles it better. I can kind of imagine a hardback spiral bound, but I'm kind of with Bob on that one. Dragon Shadow late pledge submitted. Didn't look like I could add to my existing order and didn't want to foobar it. Okay. eBay is like 20%. eBay. Now I don't. eBay doesn't have that sort of image of game selling, does it? Do you think eBay's got a good kind of image for selling stuff like this? I don't think it does. But it does vary with eBay. If you do it under £1, I think it's free sometimes. If it's a low price, it's a lower percentage. I think it varies. Rick says, for me, I'd like the robustness of hardback with the advantages of the spiral back. I see, Rick. What you're saying is you want the ideal world. I love that thought. You know, I think we have to strive for the ideal, but we often fall short, don't we? Let's face it. I mean, we're not perfect, but it would be interesting. I think sometimes when I've got like some spiral bound notebooks that I've got, and they have these hard covers on the back, which is kind of the nearest thing to it, but they have a soft cover on the front there. That's kind of the thing. So maybe for art products you may find it more of a case. Love the signed handwritten thank you cards from you and your wife. Personal touch. Thank you, Sam. Well, it's the least we can do. I know that a lot of people feel like they're just getting a product from me, but you're not. You're getting, and I know this sounds kind of like big-headed, but you're getting a work of art. You're getting something that we're really proud of, something we've channeled a lot of time into. We listen to a lot of people, and the least I can do is give a little personal thing with it, just to say thank you, for investing and kind of believing in what we do. Hopefully, it gives you loads of entertainment, which is why we do it. We want you to enjoy it, and so, and at the and we are a small company, so we can still afford. We can afford to, and I always will do this. Give a personal touch. I mean, we may go bust next year. We may double in size next year. Who knows? But with you guys there supporting me, it feels like that we've got good times ahead. So. There you go. There's some of the reasons why I put some of those, why I write little notes with all the stuff we sell. You can collect them up if you want. Complete my collection of faux leather books. Yes. I cannot wait to get those out. Hardback Spiral is just PMP in a binder. It is. Blue Steel. The outer shell could be hardcover, but on the inside it could be a spiral bound, kind of like a ring binder. Wow. Wow. That would then become what they used to call a filofax. Do you remember filofaxes? Anybody put their hands up remember filofaxes? I loved my filofax. It's really sad. I wasn't a business type person, but I think I was probably like 19. I'd try and get organised. I think I stumbled across that old filofax recently, and I'd written like 10 things in it, like a diary. Like that doesn't surprise me, Mark. Doesn't surprise me. Not in a bad way. I'm 40, of course I do. Filofaxes, man. They were the thing. Of course everybody does here. What am I saying? Yeah, I loved my filofax. And you had open it up and it had like a map in the back and like a ruler, which was you could take out the spiral and clip it out. And then there was some slots in the front where you could put some cards, some business cards maybe, if you felt like you were like the bee's knees. And yeah, I am old. Raise hand. I just love it. Mark comes in with still got one. Fantastic. There was always this thing. There's this thing. You sat down with somebody and it's like a wedge of notes. They just like slam it down on the table. It's a thick filofax, and you could see someone had been living inside it. It's kind of like it was aged and kind of, amazing. The red and black brand notebooks offer a hardback spiral notebook. Yeah, I know, mate. I've ordered the spiral, all 3 with cards. I just wish I was just wish listing. Fantastic. You do that, man. That's good. How about having a protective plastic cover on the front of the spiral bounds? Oh, that might be something you might have to organise yourself. Yeah, I think so, though. It sounds like a good idea. LE58 added to the binder by adding Z. I don't know what you mean. My first job, they gave me a Franklin planner, which sounds similar. Filofax sounds better. Filofax was probably like a British brand name. It was just like as you say, Jeff, it was like an A5 thing, or maybe smaller than A5 than these books, and it was kind of faux leather padded thing with little spiral ring binders in the middle, with a diary and stuff like that in it. You know, well. Del Boy had one. Night Beyond. Any Del Boy references, please just bring them in. Oh man, it's one of the greatest TV shows ever. Only Fools and Horses. Odds. Oops, by adding a zipper trapper keeper style. Dragon, I don't know what you mean. Who had a different size filofax for different projects? Hand up, Zelda! You win the prize. That is awesome. Zelda, wow. Did you have like a little stack of filofaxes? That is brilliant. Awesome stuff. So, my leather's looking a bit worn now. Mark. Yes. Well, I don't know where they sell them anymore, so. Something else I need to look for now. Del Boy. Well, it's actually called Only Fools and Horses. And Del Boy was the main character played by David Jason. And his brother, his little brother,
It was called Rodney. They were the Trotters, and they lived in London, and they were working class men who were trying to become millionaires. So they were Jack the Lads, Del Boys. He was called Del, Del Boy, and they were trying to make quick money. So they'd buy things, sell things off the back of a truck. They'd get like Del Boy would get like a big shipment of suitcases with special locks, but they had no keys. Something like that. It would be something stupid like that, and they'd be based around that. And a much loved TV show in Britain. Monge 2. Yeah. Very good. You see, if you're over the age of 40, you just know it's part of the DNA of being British. Trapper Keepers maybe was a US thing from the 80s. 3-ring binder that zipped shut. Oh, wow. Zipped shut. So I think some of them zipped shut, but usually it was just like a clip over with a popper, that was generally how they worked. Mark Stevenson, boom, Realm paperback and Realm cards ordered by late pledge. Thanks, Toby. Mark, thank you, my friend. You are awesome. David Day, I love the special spin-off they did when they were young. Rock and Chips. I don't think I saw that. No, I don't think I know that one. Yeah, no, I'm pretty serious when I say to any American who's watching this and you don't know, or wherever, Canadian, or wherever you are in the world, sit down and watch an episode of Only Fools and Horses, and it will blow your mind. The things you will learn. Didn't like that. Would rather eat it. Well said, you plonker. Oh, yeah, and there's the famous, and Dale would always call Rodney a plonker. So it was very affectionate. They're two very popular actors as well in it. You know, if you sat down and watch, as I say, that's homework. Okay, if you're ready for a bit of cultural influence, you could watch an episode of Only Fools and Horses, BBC, and let me know what you think of it next week. Okay. When we watched Dairy Girls, we had to pause it all the time to look up all the references. Now, I haven't watched Dairy Girls, so during the war, yes, there was there's that sort of reference. Mark's going to start throwing references now. I'm going to pretend that I know them all. Yeah, so that's a fantastic show. We do love that. Do love Uncle Albert. Yes, there was an old guy in it, big white beard. Used to provide a kind of covert wisdom that Dale would ignore. He was a gentle soul. So, where are we at? So, kind of waffling on a little bit there. The episode Delwood goes clay pigeon shooting with a pump action shotgun. Exactly. Yeah, there's stuff like that. There's the famous Batman and Robin edition as well. Watch Only Fools, then move on to Raising Damp, then Porridge. Porridge is damn. But Only Fools and Horses really is, that give you a bit of an eye into British culture, you know. So Good stuff. Right, so this week, as I say, we're going to have the Layers Omnibus out in a couple of days. It's going to take me just a little while to compile it all so that it's one nice book. And then I'm going to be solid on Alien Sanctuary for a good week, looking at these suggestions and ideas and compiling those. And then this coming week or the week after, we'll have a good solid playthrough. And we'll do some accreditation and we'll have a good play and we'll see how it goes. And then maybe a week or two after that, then the Kickstarter will go live on that one. And hopefully by that point, most people will have their books. That is the scheme. That's where we're at. Anyone's got any questions about that, throw that in there now. And then we'll be sorted. Mark's pointed out one, Open All Hours. That was one of my favourites. Again, David Jason, the same actor who played Dale Boy in Only Fools and Horses, is Arkwright in that one. So, yeah. Again, another thing I think that people forget, that in this country we didn't have cable. So we only had 3 channels for a long time. 4 channels started up in the 90s. When was it? 90s, 4 channels. But so everybody tended to watch the same thing. I think that cable was a big thing back in America quite early on, I think. Is that right? Oh, Ronnie Barker was that right? Yeah. That's right. There was another actor. Thank you, Mark. When was cable introduced in America? Because I seem to think, in my kind of grey, fuzzy knowledge of American TV history, that it was quite early and then suddenly there were a lot of channels. Is that right to say? I think that's right. Am I losing it? Have we lost the internet? Early on in the mid-80s, yeah. And when cable came along then, did that mean that there was suddenly loads of channels? Didn't all get cable right away. And that opened up a load of channels, and I think that that's a different cultural feel to the UK, because we just stayed on like 3 channels up until the 90s. And even then, even now, we still really only have 5 terrestrial channels. Really exploded in the 90s, MTV, yeah. Remember always waiting to go to my auntie's house to see MTV, yeah, MTV. Yeah, well, that was the next stage for the music industry, wasn't it? Pop videos. Yeah. Remember Pink from The Wall? So many channels of shit to choose from. That was 79. Wow. HBO. Back then it was Home Box Office. Right. HBO. There you go. I never knew what that stood for. Yeah. No, so everybody watched the same thing. So when I was growing up as a kid, there was children's TV on from 3:30 to 5:30 after school. Everybody watched it. Everybody watched the same shows. Everybody talked about the same shows the next day at school. It wasn't any... So that was in the 80s. So there wasn't anything else. So we had a kind of a very much a unity in amongst people. People had made references to the TV shows. Bruce Springsteen, 57 channels and nothing on. Ah. There you go. And I think, yeah, well, it's obviously completely changed these days, as you know. So, I went to see Alien Romulus today. MTV launched in 1981. Rustic Reflection. How you doing, my friend? ITV 5 o'clock Nightmare Classic. David, it was fantastic. I loved Nightmare. 3 channels, but they were quality programs. Not the case these days. Well, yeah, I think it's a mix. I think that there's a mix because we have a license, TV license over here in the UK. Most people probably know that. So there's a certain level of responsibility that the BBC have to produce a quality of show. For me personally, and it always looks a bit conservative when you support the BBC, but I just think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have a certain standard, and we do have some great TV shows over here. There was something special about everyone seeing the same shows, so there was common ground to talk about. Exactly. Before cable and TV, we had Friday night videos. Blockbusters. Doctor Who, Jim. That was a quality show. What they've done to it now, it's mind-boggling. Yes Minister was also 79 to 8. Yes Minister is very has got a very good reputation. Tom Baker, definitely my favourite. I do still watch the Tom Baker Doctor Who's. I think it's just fantastic. Fawlty Towers. Yes. Fawlty Towers. John Cleese. Amazing. Biggest threat growing up was not being allowed to watch TV as a kid. Missing out was missing out. Indeed. It was. I have to say, I also watched Neighbours from 5:30 to 6. I loved Neighbours. Australian TV was absolutely alien, but we were fascinated by Neighbours, and it was kind of came around about the time of things like Mad Max, and I loved that Australian wave, that wave of culture that came across from Australia. Sapphire and Steel, get out of it. Toadfish. Fantastic. Toadie, he's still in it, isn't he? That was when MTV actually showed music videos, yeah. Well, the thing that I'm embarrassed these days, and it sounds like I'm a bit fun. It sounds a bit funny, but I watch MTV or those sorts of videos now, and there's so much gyrating. I don't know where to look. I mean, the videos for the girls, I mean, don't get me wrong, very eye-pleasing, but to be honest, I'm kind of like, is anybody watching me while I watch this? You know, it's kind of like, this is almost like porn, you know. So I just think that the videos are just ridiculous. I've got daughters, and I'm thinking to myself, what do they think when they watch this stuff? That they have to be like this as well? God. Sound like Mary Whitehouse. I think he's just finished, says Matt. Rising Damp for kids. Yes. Oh, David. David. Is that a different David? Is that a new David? David, have you come in with that? Time Slip, The Tomorrow People. The Tomorrow People was fantastic. That was very, very good. What was Grange Hill was my thing. When I was at school, Grange Hill was like, that was the thing everybody talked about. Just Say No. Oh my God, that was massive. Yes, was late today. Good to have you here, David. Blake 7. Oh man, that was a bit earlier, just a bit early for me, I have to be honest, Mark, sorry. But yeah, I definitely watched some of that as kind of like repeats maybe. You all have a whole range of shows I've never heard of. Yeah, there's a lot of British shows there, Jeff. I'm an old git. Nonsense. Yeah, Blake Seven's notorious though. I mean, Space 1999. Come on, Jeff. You must have heard of Space 1999. Fantastic Journey with Rodney McDowall. Fantastic Journey. David. I don't know whether I watched that. Oh my God, Zelda. Any dwarfers here? Yes. Mind Squids. Is it Mind Squids? Season 6. One of the greatest episodes of any science fiction comedy ever written. I loved Red Dwarf. Bloody hell. Modifius are making the Space 99 RPG. Right. They seem to be making every bloody RPG, don't they? Damn straight. Young ones, anyone. Oh my God, Prodigal Sorcerer. That scared the living daylights out of me when it came out, because I think it was like 81, was it, or something like that? So I was like 6. So I kind of caught bits of it, and it seems so violent. Smeghead. Rimmer. I came across the Sweeney a long time ago, like that one. Yes. Oh. You're nicked. I can't say the word, David. Day of the Triffids was fantastic. I loved Day of the Triffids. And what's the one? Was it the Tomorrow People where they had the tripods? The tripods was fantastic. Minder. Wow. That never saw Space 1999. The first season's fantastic. I really recommend it. Quite retro. Second season went downhill. They had a series of cuts, directorial changes. Not worth it. But the first season's fantastic. If you like that kind of retro science fiction action, I have it on sometimes. I like the aesthetic. It's just fantastic. UFO. Never really watched it, Rick, to be honest. Second season was hippie, Mark says. Battlestar Galactica. Cylons. That's that one, isn't it? I'm not getting those two. There's two I get mixed up. Battlestar and what's the other one? Someone would tell me. Fantastic. I loved all that. There was just such a wave of science fiction in that period. Supercar, Fireball XL5 might be showing my age. Supercar, Fireball XL5. Wow. Don't know Supercar, but Fireball XL5 I definitely know. David says came in late. But if it's not already been mentioned, Butt Rogers in the 25th making the taking of eye candy. Butt Rogers is the one I was thinking about. Butt Rogers and Battlestar Galactica. Sometimes the imagery gets mixed up in my head. V was fantastic. That was creepy. I always thought it was a bit of a cop-out when you have any show, and this includes the new Battlestar Galactica, where you have... I think, is it new Battlestar Galactica? Or something like that, where you have aliens that can just look like humans. I always think it's a bit of a cop-out. Battlestar had the Cyclones, the Cylons, indeed. Cylon in Battlestar, tripods in War of the Worlds. Yes, V was awesome. I did like V. V was good. Yeah, they just... They had a certain style to them, didn't they? If there's anything like that these days, it's all very, very glossy and produced by a big company like Disney or something like that. We need things which are kind of made by smaller companies, and they're kind of pushed for budget, and you get having to think creatively and use, I don't know, 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 not everything isn't so well lit when you get a smaller company that doesn't have a big budget, and you have to try and make something. Look at the first season of Red Dwarf, for example. They Live, John Carpenter movie, yeah. That'd be one to go back to, actually, Jeff. Robert England was Willie in V. V and Salmon's Lot had a lot of nostalgia for me. Awesome. I think probably my favourite show was, well, I did love Star Trek, I'll be honest with you. I loved The Next Generation. That sort of came out roughly, what was that, 89, Next Generation. So I was right, I was 14. It's 89, early 90s. Just love Star Trek. Quatermass and the Pit. Good movie. I'll have to go back and watch that one as well. But that's an older movie, isn't it? Best fight scene in movie history in They Live. David. I'm gonna have to have a look at that one as well. Hammer House. I used to watch quite a few Hammer House. I loved that when I was younger. That was always, very titillating. The old Hammer House horrors. Very scary for an 8-year-old me. Shouldn't have been allowed to watch it. Prestige P, yeah, especially. I mean, the gore was just a bit kind of ketchup-y, wasn't it? Really, it wasn't too bad. It was the vampiresses and the witches and the crazed nuns. Aliens presenting as humans is, of course, economical for a show, but it is very prescient thinking of AI, etc. Very true. I would completely agree with you. Rodney was also in Hell Comes to Frogtown. That is another one to look up. The House That Bled to Death and Doppelganger episodes from HHOH were terrifying. David, we're tapping into this a rather twisted knowledge here. I can see you were quite affected by some of these experiences. What was the sci-fi movie of aliens that started to terraform Earth? Took something, mainly in St. Louis. I don't know. Is that a joke? The Body Snatchers. They Live was great, but Escape from New York is fantastic. I do love it. Yeah, definitely. Place. Is that you may be talking Dare the Triffids, maybe, or Invasion of the Body Snatchers, something like that, maybe. Could be. There's some great stuff. So I'll end on. We're gonna end the stream there. It's been fantastic. Don't forget, we've got the early bird form on the screen there. It's in the description. If you haven't signed up for the early bird form for Alien Sanctuary, where you get a free signed variant creature card, which is limited. It's a limited edition, only available to those people who do sign up. It comes along with your pledge, should you pledge in the coming Kickstarter in the next few weeks. Oh, the Box of Delight, Stugler, is one of my favourites. Was one of my favourites. Love the early John Carpenter movies. Assault on Precinct 13. The Thing is just one of the greatest sci-fi horror films ever made. I absolutely adore it. I've got to go back and watch Assault on Precinct 13 as well. Did they remake that? So we've got the So we've got the form down below. Fill that in if you haven't filled that in already. We will send you one email regarding the Kickstarter in relation to that. But there's also a there's a form there. You'll see it. It's just a couple of questions. Can you get a quick recap on the new game for those who joined late? Well, it's called Alien Sanctuary. Just a quick recap. It's coming soon. It's basically I was going to play it today, but I've had such great feedback. I'm trying to work through it. It's taken me a bit longer than I had remembered. But you run a sanctuary. You have 3 phases at the moment. There may be a 4th phase. We'll see. That may be introduced as an expansion. You have 3 phases. You construct and repair, tend to the aliens, and then there's the business side of things. And you basically manage a sanctuary where you can have up to 6 aliens, and you get a range of biomes. And you get sheets, biomes. It's a print and play, but there's also going to be print copies to buy, cards. It might be called the Phase 4 expansion. The disaster expansion, and then you've got tables at the back, which is kind of like one of my token things here. And it's a shorter game. It's a kind of trying to. It's a sci-fi game. There's a narrative to it. There's a story to it, and you'll be able to see it. That form is going to stay there until the Kickstarter begins. So, which will be in a couple of weeks. So you've got plenty of time to sign up for the form. So there you go. Also, I don't usually say this, but don't forget to click the thumbs up on the video. And if you're not subbed already, sub and click that bell. Apparently, something like that. Phase 4. Hey, David, we had a discussion about Phase 4 a while back. Were you part of that discussion? Because I said I couldn't remember what the name of it was. It was Phase 4, and I sat down and watched it. It was only about 80 minutes long. It was pretty good, actually. I really did enjoy it, but it wasn't as good as I remember. But good film. Phase 4, recommend it. Movie about ants. But that's the game. So that is coming, and there'll be more news about this. But as I say, in the short term, we're going to get the Layers Omnibus done, and then everything will be printing, and then once that all comes, we'll send it out, and bang. Good stuff. Okay. Empire of the Ants is another, indeed. There aren't any ants in this, actually. There aren't any insects, but an insect expansion, now that you say it, might be a good idea. Fantastic. Fantastic, guys. Yeah, what a great chat. Thank you. That was awesome. And I felt really bad about not having the game ready, but in the end, what a great stream we've had. What a great stream. Thanks goes out to Mark and Lars, or aka Jeff. Everybody reads Lars in the chat, but it's Jeff. And David and Clive for helping me with the current Alien Sanctuary. And all the playtesters, Matthew as well. Guys, I do appreciate all the help you give me. And it's much appreciated, and it makes me think deeply about these things, and that's what you need. To be as an artist, you need people to throw things at you, remind you of stuff, point things out, and it just makes everything better. So I really do appreciate it. I will catch up with you next week, guys. So take care, and have a good weekend. Oh, and see Aliens Romulus. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. Have a chat about that, and see. It'd be interesting to see what people's thoughts are on that. No problem. Oh, and watch the episode of Only Fools and Horses. All right, guys. Take care, and I will catch up with you very soon.